Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Local Liberty. This is Brian and Shane. We are continuing the college chat series, talking about questions from Shane's American Government course. The question of the day is, should social problems be solved through private actions or interests or through government activity? What a relevant question to our show. I, as always, like to rephrase questions in my own mind as how I will read this. So, how I read this question is, should we solve our problems through voluntary interaction of individuals, or should we solve our problems through involuntary force, which would be the replacement for the euphemism of government activity. Another way of asking this question is, should we solve our problems and just solve them, or should we attempt to solve our problems and create more problems in the process of attempting to solve the problems? Another way to ask this question is, should people be allowed to apply their own resources to solving the problems they see? Or should the government step in and take resources from them, and then a small group of people will solve the problems that they see, maybe while also siphoning off a huge portion of the resources they took from somebody? So there, now I've rephrased the question several times.
Several
Shane,
times.
would you like to jump in?
Well, this is brought the heart of our show. And we know that government intervention always causes all kinds of unintended consequences. Somebody watching might say, well, look at all the things that government did to help solve social problems. You can talk about the Civil Rights Act. You can talk about ending slavery. You can talk about these great. You can talk about the gay marriage decision, the recent gay marriage decision. We can talk about all these things like, oh, these are great things, but all these ills in the first place were caused by the government. It was government-sanctioned slavery. The Jim Crow laws were laws. So it was government-backed segregation. The government in the first place is the one that decided who should and should not get married. So they come in after the fact and say, oh, look at this social ill. We're going to solve it. Ignoring conveniently the fact that they are the one that started it. Social change happens from changing social norms of people, of society, of groups of people. Over time, values change, and people realize that, wait, maybe we shouldn't do this, maybe we shouldn't do that. Forcing change via the government is just not an effective means to create social change. It's not. And to point to these things I just named as good things the government did, it's just they're undoing other bad things the government did. So let's just remove the government from people's social lives, from people's lives in the first place, and let them voluntarily interact. Let's not try to use government against each other, because a lot of times that's another problem you have. You say the government's trying to, you want to use government for social change. It's, I want to use the government to force my way on that guy, and then that guy wants to force his way on you.
That is the endless battlefield known as democracy. Is I'm going to get as many votes as I can to force my way on my neighbors, and I'm going to try to outcompete them in their process to get as many votes as they can to force their way on me.
I got to screw them before he screws me.
That's democracy. And another thing about this I like to bring this up, this whole question of social problems. And that's supposed to signify one set of problems, maybe apart from economic problems or fiscal problems, maybe is how this is usually compartmentalized. When in reality, what problem is not social? If my neighbor wants to, I'll go back to the previous example I gave. If my neighbor wants increased police presence in my town and he wants me to pay for it, that to me is a social problem. That is two people interacting in a way that I don't think is a right way to interact. And it also obviously has an economic impact because we're talking about dollar bills. But basically all problems are social problems. There's no such thing to say, well, that's just a fiscal problem. And if everybody's just happy giving up 35% of their paycheck, well then it's not a problem at all. Everything's great, right? It's just dollars. No, this is about 35% of somebody's life, which is also a social problem. What's somebody going to do with their own life? So, this is a topic again.
Brian can't help it. You can't help but redefining everything. You can never accept any definition as is. You have to redefine it so to confuse the whole audience. The social, we know what people mean when they say social issues and economic issues. I understand what you're trying to say, Brian. But if you have to redefine every single thing said to you, then no one's going to understand you because you're using your own esoteric definitions. So in some sense, you have to accept some labels and go with them. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to
I
get
am
people
trying
to
to
think.
define my terms.
I know, but every single term you redefine. It's like so many terms. You can't just take the term and go, all right, I'll take this term and we'll just go with it for your sake, right?
For whose sake?
For the sake of people understanding, for people to understand you. And if every definition I use is my own definition, you're not going to understand me because I've redefined all my words. If suddenly this is a tiger, I'm going to be very confusing talking about this. Even if I've already defined this. A tiger is a small 8-inch object weighing about a pound. It's green. It has text on it. This is what we define as a tiger. I've now defined this term. But it's contrary to every single other person's term of what a tiger is, and it can be confusing.
I agree, it can be confusing. However, if the original definition of your tiger has what I would think a potentially propagandistic twist to it.
Everything has a propagandistic twist to it.
It sure does. And my mission in life is to combat some of that propaganda.
Oh,
so
epic.
Here I am. And I think there are lots of terms out there that there is meaning and then there's an under meaning. There's a seen and an unseen. And that's the kind of stuff that I like to talk about. So,
I know it. It's epic. We love it.
So here we are. All right. Anything else?
I'm done.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is Brian and Shane from Local Liberty. Check us out on YouTube, Local Liberty in quotes.
Subscribe to our channel.
Facebook as well, Local Liberty in quotes. Take care, guys.